Hi again. This is Balance 47, and I would like to talk to you today about vivid dreams. I don't know how people view dreams and what's their beliefs in it. It's all sorts of things out there about dreams, the beliefs in it, and things that may have connections to you in the real world. I've had some pretty vivid dreams in my life, and it did have some connections to some things that I was going through, and it was trying to just explain some things. And some things to this day I really don't understand what it was trying to say. And even then, I still say it was something there. I just to this day couldn't pinpoint it. And maybe as my life journey goes on, it'll come to fruition and I can understand it totally what it really meant. But vivid dreams are exactly what it means. It's very self-explanatory. It's very plain and kind of simple to you. And also like to touch on those ones that's kind of distorting, but it has some sort of meaning in it, and you feel it, but you just can't figure out what that meaning really is. So I know I've had a few dreams. I had this one dream, and I tell everybody about this dream because my mom always told me, let me go there first. If it's a bad, I told you how old my mom was, where she come from, so they believe in a lot of that, you know, if you say this could happen and that type of thing. And it instilled in me a lot of it. A lot of it, I'm trying to grow past a lot of the superstition that I grew up with because, that stuff can stress you out. Every little thing you done heard, or you'll see something and be like, oh, I remember what my mother told me about that, and it'll freak you out, especially if it's something eerie. But she always told me that in dreams, if you don't want it to come to pass, then don't tell nobody about it. But these dreams actually happened to me. This particular dream happened to me after things had already happened. And when I woke up, the moment I already knew what the dream actually meant. I had this dream. I was going through a really rough time in my first marriage during the breakup. It was bad. I had lost so much weight. It was just really, really bad. And I had this dream. I was real slender. And all the girls that were actually in my wedding was in the dream. And I was up these real narrow, kind of dark staircase. I was at the top. Almost put on display like a porcelain doll or something like that. It wasn't who I was at that moment, but in that dream I clearly could see it was me. I always had really thick, long hair. And my hair was really thick, long, full, pretty curls. It was real nice. And I had on a blood red wedding gown from head to toe, veil and all. Red was never like my favorite color. I don't dislike it. I would wear red, but it's not like one of my favorite colors. And that really blew my mind in the dream. Why was the gown so red? And I was, like I said, very slender, standing on the top of this pedestal. And I'm like, what is that? Why am I standing there? But ever have a dream? I don't want to get too far off subject, but have you ever had a dream where you looking at the dream, but you're in the dream? That part confuses me because in the dream, you're looking at it. You're in it, but you're looking at it. It's confusing. You know what I'm saying? It's like looking at a movie that you played in. Let's put it that way. And I just remember just going, and all my dreams are like that. I'm like going through it. It's like I'm there, but I'm looking at me in the dream, like a movie. And like I said, I was at the top of this pedestal, and all the girls that was in my actual wedding was in the dream, and they was just admiring this gown as though it wasn't red. And I remember the thoughts was in my head in the dream, like, do they see this gown? It's like blood red. This is ugly. And it was form fitting, but it had lace, and that's another thing I didn't like. I don't like lace, and I do not like dark red like that. And everything that I disliked was on me at the top of this pedestal. Only thing I liked was the fact that I was really slim and my hair was just outflowing. I let my hair outflowing. And they just admiring this gown and everything like that. Like, oh, it's so pretty. And I'm just looking at these women. It's like, I don't know if I said it in the dream or I was thinking it in the dream. Are they nuts? Do they see this blood red gown? And I woke up. I woke up. And I believe that the red symbolized the blood. You know how blood, when you hear about blood and anything that's red, shedding the blood or whatever. I believe in my heart that that dream strictly told me that the marriage was over. It was totally over. It was a wrap. Everything that you disliked was right up on that dream. In that dress, by being a wedding gown, it represented the wedding. The actual marriage itself, by being red, it represented some blood, something you had to go through, some trial, some tribulation. The thinness really came to pass. I had gotten real skinny, but at the time that I had the dream, I wasn't real skinny yet. But I was definitely headed there. I was just going there, and I was getting so thin and my hair, oh, like I said, always been long and thick, and it just everything was just. I was actually gorgeous in the dream, but I was in red, and I'm like, what is that? But I knew right away. The moment I woke up, I felt like that was God telling me, don't even fight for this marriage. It's over. It's a wrap. Leave it alone. And it was just so plain. It was very vivid. And you ever hear the term, do you dream in color? I never understood that saying, do you dream in color? What exactly does that mean? Because do you dream in black and white? Because I've never dreamed in black and white. I never saw nothing in my dream that's in black and white, because anything that you can remember, you recall the colors, you recall this. So that always kind of stuck with me. What exactly does that mean, do you dream in color? But that dream was very vivid, and instantly I knew what it was, and I knew I had to just let it go. Even though I felt like I wasn't fighting to keep it. I was just going through it was horrible. It was horrible. And I will talk about that to you guys, just the pain and just having those painful moments and that you had to go through. And I want to justify my part of it, because a lot of people think it's one thing when it was another. And I would love to be able to tell you about it. But that dream symbolized a whole lot. It summed it up for me, and I was very grateful for it. I didn't fight for the marriage. I wasn't going to. I had no reason to fight for the marriage. I didn't do anything wrong. I just needed to get out. And that's where I ended up learning the power of forgiveness during that transition. It took a while, though. It still took some years for me to get to that point. But I had to learn and just go through the motion. That's why I never let no one, and I said this before, never let no one tell you when is your grieving period. Like, you've been grieving this for years, get over it. This people can't do that. I mean, they do, but people gonna be people, but you gonna be you, and you have to come to that conclusion that when I'm ready, it'll go away. When it's time and I've done my duration, you'll know it. It'll be over. You'll be done with it. Because we get tired too. Just as tired as you are at looking at it and hearing about it, we feel it inside. No one wants to feel that way. At least I don't think so. I mean, no one wants to feel down and depressed all the time and feeling closed in and like the world is ending. And just the whole 9 yards. But that's what I went through in that vivid dream. And I had another dream not too long ago. It's crazy. And I wondered, did I mention this before about the boy that was in my dream? And the reason why that dream meant so much to me is because still to this day, I don't know what it symbolizes with me. But I was told when I mentioned it to my therapist that she said, I believe, Kim, you were witnessing something. And you had to be there to witness it. And I'm like, I wonder why I had to be there. But this is how the dream went. I'm a water person. I love to be around water. I love the whole, it's just, but I can't swim. It's crazy. But I love to be around water. And I was on some kind of like cruise ship, I want to say. And this little boy who looked around 10 or 12 years old came to me and said, come see the boat. Now we're on a boat. And in the dream, I knew what boat he was talking about. It was this magnificent boat everybody's supposed to be talking about. I guess it's some kind of blessing in this boat or whatever. When I stepped out on this deck, there was a bench facing the ocean water. There was one lady sitting on the bench. I never saw her face. She was slender. She was a black female. She was just staring out. And the little boy said, there's the boat. And I looked, and it was almost like, to this day, and I think that's why it meant so much to me. I believe it was a part of heaven. I believe I saw something about heaven in that boat. and then the water, everything became these colors that were so in depth and so bright and so really colorful. I had never seen nothing like that since I've been living. Not that bright. And they got high def televisions and it looked like you could step into these bad boys. The color quality is just awesome. But I had never seen color like this. And the water was like crystal blue, pure blue, flawless water. No contamination, anything. And there was these like small little steps to go into the water to get out to the boat. But the boat was actually going back. So we kind of caught it while it was going back, so it was a little too late. But the little boy was determined to get on that boat. So what he did is he walked down the steps and swam out. But what I noticed about the little boy was one of his arms was like limp or not broke, but something was wrong with his arm. And I'm like, the first thing I thought was he wants some kind of healing. He wants some kind of healing with that arm. So he swam out there to the boat, got out there to the boat. Now, I need to detail the boat for you because it wasn't a boat of this age. It was like a prehistoric boat from, I want to say like Clash of the Titans. You know those boats that go up like this with the things on the end like that. It was like this cream color, and I can actually see the detail of the boat. And it was like it wasn't in the water. It was just sitting on top of it, literally. It was on top of the water. It wasn't emerged. It wasn't like floating on the water. It was just sitting there. And that's how perfectly clear I could see the boat. It was so detailed. And this boat only had pews or seats. It wasn't a boat that had a cover. It didn't have a sail. And I don't know how it would operate out there in the water, just like it would be floating freely because it had no sail. It had no sail. And it had all these seats, but nobody was on the boat. Only person was on the boat was this guy who was dressed more like a pharaoh. He was black. Very chiseled guy. Form, body, everything. Tall, dark, very handsome. And the little boy got over to the boat. And they were saying something. I couldn't tell what they were saying. When he got up on the boat and he was saying something to the man was saying something back to him. He got back in the water and came back. Came up, talked to the lady. He told the lady on the bench that was facing out that he sent me back. And I remember her turning slightly to him, and I can only see the form of her face. She said, "It just wasn't your time yet. Don't worry." So I said to myself, I wanted to go out to the boat. Even though it was too far, I can't swim. I knew this. In my dream, I couldn't swim. So I remember putting my feet in the water. That's how crystal clear it was. I remember seeing it, and I pulled back. I was like, no, I can't go out there. I can't swim. The boat just kept going. I woke up. And the dream I was like, it was so clear. Who was the boy? Anything. So I got on the internet, and I started doing this search about a little boy. I said, whoever that was, who was this little boy with his arm? That was the only thing that stuck out. Who was the boy with the arm who wanted this blessing off that boat, and they sent him back? I tripped up on this site. I typed in something about a boy with arm. I said even maybe from, now I don't know if I said Africa. I said little black boy with an arm or whatever. Something's going on with his arm. And the story popped up, and I have it snapshot on my iPad. And it was a little black boy, about 10 to 12 years old. Got a prosthetic arm put on not too long ago. He was one of the few that they donated these free prosthetic arms, and he was from Africa. And they showed a picture of the little boy, and he looked just like the boy in my dream. And that was absolutely amazing to me. I said, what is this? And I had to snapshot it. The arm, everything. His arm in the dream was exposed. He was trying to get some kind of healing. And apparently the guy sent him back. He got the healing, but he didn't know it. He wanted to go on the boat. I'm thinking the boat takes you to heaven. Once you get on the boat, you're gone. You're not coming back to this world, this realm. He sent them back. But he set it up where the little boy would get a prosthetic arm. And this little boy had the arm in the dream. I was determined to find, because I felt like, who are these strangers that I knew nothing about in this dream? Why did this little boy even come to me and say, come see the boat? Just me, nobody else, and a lady just sitting there just in the dream. Pretty much, they knew each other. She never looked back at me. She never said a thing. The little boy, matter of fact, didn't even say anything to me after that. He just said, "Come see the boat." You know, it was like it wanted me to witness something miraculous in the dream, and I did. But I had to look it up in this life realm to find out whoever that little boy was. I'm very curious to this day. Do he remember me in the dream? Because I felt like we were there at the same time. Now, what my blessing was, I still don't know. But I felt like something wanted me to be witness to something. And I did. And that's what my therapist would tell me. She was like, I think they really wanted you to witness something miraculous, Kim, and you did. And then to look up the little boy and actually find a little boy that matched that story was pretty miraculous. And it was. It really was. I've never done that. I've never done it. Even in the last dream that I just spoke of, there was nothing that could signify in real life other than the weight loss and stuff like that, the vividness of that part. But the dream, I was like, this little boy, they know me from Adam. And I'm curious as to why he was sent to let me see the boat. Even though I wouldn't have got on the boat. And I would have got on it maybe if it was closer to where we were. Or, you know, I thought I could swim. But even in my dream, I was very adamant. I cannot swim, so I'm not getting that. And it scared me. I was like, I'm not going out there, because he was going further and further out, just drifting out there in the water. And the guy was, and he just drifted away. And he was the only one navigating the boat. And the boat was very detailed, clean, no scratches. It was so flawless. Y'all, it was like brand new. And it was just, I could see even the arch of the boat underneath. That's how I know it couldn't have been in the water. It was just sitting afloat of the water. It wasn't even on the water. It was crazy. It was just kind of drifting on the top of it. It was crazy. And I could see this full man, but it wasn't a deck. He was standing somewhere out there, but at his boat or on this boat, but he was with the boat. He matched the time frame that the boat would have been in. It would have been in like those pharaohs. He had the hat. It was tall. It was cream color. He had this gold thing on his head. He had a very chiseled face like this. He had like a what they call it, like a breastplate, but it was it came maybe just a little past the breast, and you could see his stomach and the skirt he had on with the gold buckle thing in front, and it matched. Everything just matched. He looked like a soldier from them days. I couldn't explain his feet and his legs or anything like that, but I definitely could, and I could see he's a tall black man. And he told the little boy to go back, you know. And the little boy took it as they couldn't do nothing for him. And like I said, I just woke up. But the dream was so amazing to me because the colors, I knew it was something dealing with heaven, because I read a lot of stories about that, about how when you get there you thought you saw color here. You haven't seen nothing until you get there and see the color. You think you've seen high def here. You have not seen what you can see when you get to heaven. And those colors were just like that. They were just unexplainable, bright, vibrant colors. And they were colors you knew, you know. It wasn't like it was something you never saw before. It was just how clear and how the clarity of it was just so magnificent. It was really an awesome dream. And I told so many people, and I think the reason why, like I said, the reason why it stuck out, not only the colors, is that I actually looked up the little boy. And I believe that was the little boy in my dream. And I'm always going to believe that. I've never had a dream like that since. And it wasn't actually that long ago, but I told my therapist, and like I said, she definitely was like, that's an awesome dream. It's an awesome story to tell. Even when I told her about the one with the marriage, she said, yeah, it does sound like it signifies that your marriage was over. It wasn't that she was validating anything. It's just that she had her opinion when I told her about it, and you needed to witness it, that it was coming to an end. And you needed to know not to hold on. You had to let go.